What's going on, guys? Nick here, back with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed the little trailer I made of the Ducati 1299 Anniversario. I wanted to give you guys a little bit more content within this video, so I decided to put together a little tutorial on how I edit and shoot photos. So for those of you that are interested in photography and cinematography and editing, I guarantee you'll learn something from this video. For those of you that are not interested, I think you'll still enjoy it just to see the process that it takes to produce the content that I do. So my all-time favorite thing about shooting photography and editing is seeing the before and the after. So when I look at my image, the first thing I do is I look at it and I tell myself, what do I want in the image and what do I want to take out? Do I want to keep in bushes or skid marks? Do I want to keep holes in the fence that are on this image? All of that is very important because that overall image that you have in your head needs to be achieved by adding and removing certain things. So with that being said, I want to give you a quick tip for those of you that have never really shot or edited your photos in a professional manner. And that tip is that when you go out and shoot, you need to have a final image. Have at least one. That one image will spark up so many new ideas, and when you're out in the field and you're shooting your shots, as long as you have that image in mind, a lot more things will come to you and everything will slowly come together. You know, the things that are in the background, the lighting of your image, all of that is so important, and if you can see that ahead of time, your editing process is going to be so much easier and more fun for you. So I'm going to go through this pretty quickly for these main steps just because I don't want to waste your guys' time. A lot of the stuff that I do, I'll explain it, however it's up to you guys to practice and to learn what those tools can do. For the best overall look, I always suggest cropping to a 1:1 ratio. It doesn't always work based off of what you're shooting. For those of you that do photography, you know what I mean. You can't always crop an image to a square format just because you've got maybe an arm peeking out or you've got a foot or a helmet. It doesn't matter what you're shooting, but 1:1 ratio is usually the best to crop. Composition is extremely important if you want those clean shots. So the next step is probably the most difficult part. I know you guys have probably already noticed, but he's broken off one mirror. I don't know how that happened. I think he got hit by a car from what he told me. I'm gonna grab a tool that selects the mirror, cuts it out, and then I take the stamp tool and I blend everything in, use some blur, paint everything over, make sure that it's nice and smooth looking, that it looks natural, that I don't have random spots of different colors all over the bike and the background, because that wouldn't make the image look good at all. So the next step is to clear up the visors. So I use the stamp tool in order to spread out the colors that are already on his visor and kind of blend everything in. It'll make it look a little bit nicer. My next goal was to clear up the windshield. Now there's a lot of sun flare on this windshield, which honestly is extremely difficult to avoid unless you're shooting with a polarized filter, which I didn't have at the time. So in order for me to clear that up, I had to do everything in post, and honestly it took so long, but I got it done to the point where it wasn't too bad. But honestly, it was just becoming too time consuming and I needed to finish the photo. So most of the tools that you've already seen so far are the stamp tool. It's a very handy tool. You can take whatever you want and add it to wherever you want, and that's very convenient. Now the next goal is a very important goal, and it takes a little bit of patience. So I'm gonna separate the rider from the background so that I can edit the rider individually, and when I edit the color and the contrast and all that stuff, it doesn't affect the entire photo, but it affects just him. That way I can make him pop out of the background and make it look like he's lit up with professional lighting, where honestly this whole shot was shot with natural light. Once the rider is completely separated, I decided that I wanted to make the headlights look a little bit more vibrant and pop more and look more aggressive out of the bike. I mean, the Ducati already has very aggressive lights, but I figured I could change the color of it to make it look a little bit more aggressive. And that's done with the selection tool as well. So last thing, I'm gonna start editing the color. Now, what I want you to know is that I did most of what I could in Photoshop. I know that there are a lot of filters and plugins that you can use to make the image look amazing, but what I like to do is to take my image, fully edit it in Photoshop, and then I take it onto my phone. Once it's on my phone, I typically use VSCO and another app called MuseCam. Both of those work very well. They've got great filters and you can do your toning very well within those apps. And lastly, the very most important thing is to add your watermark. Anybody can take your photo. All your hard work that you just put in is gone. You may have backups or the original photo that you can use to fight it, but if you don't have any real proof that it's yours, how are you going to protect your own image? So please watermark your photos. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed the tutorial, please consider dropping a like, Leave a comment down below if you have any recommendations or things you want to see in the next tutorial. I look at all the comments and I try to respond to all of them. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and I'll see you guys next week. Peace!